for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to rumble!
Hey everybody, welcome to WrassleFlicks. This week we're watching Ready to Rumble. I am Kevin, aka KevBot. With me, as always, is the $1 Million Man to my IRS, John.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, John. How are you?
I was good. How are you?
I'm doing great. See, this week I care. This week I'm asking compared to last episode.
Well, thank you. I'm glad, because I thought you didn't love me anymore. And I was about to fly out over there, and I was about to get in your face and confront you like a romantic comedy.
I still love you. In fact, that's why I had to fly to your house and duct tape you to a chair and make you watch this movie.
Yeah, I was a little uncomfortable. I told you repeatedly that I'll watch it, it's fine, but you just kept putting the duct tape on. You weren't listening to me, and that hurts a little bit.
Well, you watched the movie, and that's what's important. Speaking of...
I can't feel anything in my hands yet.
Well, you don't need hands, do you? Oh, wait, you're a shoe cobbler. My bad.
How am I going to cobble? How am I going to feed my 5 kids and my wife?
Hey,
how
am I gonna cobble these shoes? Oh, my God.
Oh, Hulk Hogan he started in a shoe cobbling movie?
Starting already.
All right, cool.
So let's do what we do, and we'll take it to the ring. Now, entering the ring from the year 2000, coming in at 1 hour and 47 minutes, ready to rumble.
Buenos nachos.
Corey, I didn't know you spoke Spanish. Are you fluent?
No. I feel fine.
Gordy and Sean had dead-end jobs.
People always said I was a dreamer, an idiot, and a waste of life, and I will never amount to anything. Hit me, baby, one more time.
No luck with the ladies.
Brittany, let's go out again. We'll talk about me and you. Dude, you're in there.
And no one to look up to.
Freeze! Your sister shot her first perp today. That's nice, Gabby.
But at least they had a hero.
Jimmy King is the greatest wrestler of all time.
Wrestling's fake.
Wrestling's not fake!
Down goes Jimmy King! Oh my God, a 4-post massacre! No one can survive this! This isn't even a pay-per-view! No! Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! We made it! We're alive! Would that be raw sewage I'm smelling? I kind of always like that smell.
Now, these dreamers
Me and my associate, we're on a quest to find King. It's him! King!
will go to any lengths
Please cry out! No! Oh, that was great!
and do whatever it takes
We got a friend. He's gonna get you a trainer. Everybody knows wrestling's fake.
to put their king
Do I feel fine?
back on his throne.
Any match, anytime. The steel cage. Steel cage wins. Whoa! It's done. Bring it on!
We are ready to rumble!
You chicks rock.
Woof, woof, woof. Ready to rumble.
This is the best movie. Ding, 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 ding.
This movie is almost 2 hours long. How the fuck was it almost 2 hours long? Explain to me.
Well, you see, the movie started and they had a script and it took so long, and they edited the movie down.
They edited,
and it came out to an hour and 47 minutes, which leads me to believe there might be a director's cut out there.
You think there's a Snyder cut? There's like a Snyder cut of Ready to Rumble out there, and a bunch of people on Twitter are trying to get it.
4-hour version that has 3 different matches and an animated sequence and
some actual character development.
Bullet time.
God damn.
Lots of different stuff.
All right, so Ready to Rumble. This movie came out, as you said, in the year 2000 during WCW's, let's just say, not their highest point, and actually their last full year of existence. This movie was directed by Brian Robbins, who anyone who remembers the 90s and Nickelodeon, he directed a bunch of episodes of Keenan and Kel, probably all of that, and he also directed the movie Good Burger.
Ooh, the Good movie Good Burger.
Yeah, Good Burger's a good movie. We should have done that one instead.
It is, yeah.
I'm sure that we could have. There
still
could have
holds
been a
up,
wrestler.
too.
Yeah, there could have been a wrestler in it.
There probably is. He also directed Varsity Blues and The Perfect Score, which has Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson in it. And I'm sure other people from the 90s, right? That's the SAT movie one?
I honestly have never seen it. Is that where they like steal the SATs? Is that one?
Yeah, to get the perfect score.
Oh, you know what?
That's where the
title makes
comes
sense.
From. Yeah.
Again,
and then this movie was also written by Stephen Brill, not to be confused with Brell from No Holds Barred. Another callback.
Hey.
Who wrote The Mighty Ducks, all 3 movies. Little Nicky, starring Adam Sandler, and was a co-writer of Heavyweights, which is a fantastic summer camp movie.
Who did he co-write it with?
Judd Apatow.
So he wrote all the good stuff, and Stephen Brill just took credit.
Well, Mighty Ducks was good. He's a good writer. He's a good writer.
I'll take your word for it. I don't think I've ever seen a Mighty Ducks movie in full. I'm sorry, everybody. Just as a heads up, I've never watched a Mighty Ducks movie. Maybe like in like 2nd or 3rd grade when they
that's
like
unforgivable.
Put it on.
But we'll move on.
Okay.
John, I don't know how you watched this movie, but I have a VHS copy I borrowed from our good friend Dane Train. Shout out to VHS Bandits. And this had some great ads for WCW Magazine and WCW Monday Night Nitro. And it's just...
That's not the name of the show. That's not the name of the show. We're going to fight on that later. That's not the name of the show. It is Monday Nitro, goddammit.
WCW's Monday Night Show Nitro.
God damn it. Are you starting early? We're only 7 minutes into this. You son of a bitch.
Sorry.
All right.
Sorry. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of funny because it was the first thing I saw, and it's just like, ooh, just WCW pimping itself out.
Were you even watching WCW at this point? Because I think we became friends after WCW died. I think it was 8th grade when we met, and that was like after that happened.
Yeah, this was probably the tail end, just because I remember a lot of the superstars, and right in the opening of this movie, you know, they get into early in the movie they get into Monday Nitro, and Rey Mysterio doesn't have a mask, and that's very memorable to me because I'm a huge Rey Mysterio fan. And I do remember watching that. I probably gave up pretty soon after that, just because I don't remember. I wouldn't say I casually watched. I mean, I would catch it if I could or felt bored, because I did kind of watch through 2000. I didn't watch any of 2001, which, you know, was only, 3 months?
Yeah, they their last show was in March, and then I think like 2 weeks after WWE bought them.
Yeah. So John, you were still watching at this time, correct?
Unfortunately, I jumped on the WCW bandwagon around 1992, and I kind of stuck with it through the bitter end. And 2000 was a very bad year, and also is the reason this movie exists. And they do a lot of dumb stuff related to this movie in actual WCW television that we'll get to after we're done talking about this. Because I'm gonna need a little bit to really just go through it, because it was a dumb decision.
need to warn all of our listeners that this is still a movie review podcast, but this is going to be a good therapy session for John Stamonsta here.
Yeah,
He's,
this is something that's been
work through a couple things in regards to this movie. I had a pretty good time watching this movie.
Well,
I enjoyed
that's
it.
good for you. Good for you.
Thanks.
I watched this movie.
Good for you.
I saw this movie in theaters, and I'm sure my dad still doesn't forgive me for it. But for the purpose of this review, I watched it. I was gonna pay $3 like a moron to go rent it, but it was free on YouTube, so I pirated it because I am not giving these fuckers any more money.
That's okay. That's fine.
Yeah. Hey everybody, I'm a pirate. Arr.
Arr. That's his wrestling persona?
Yeah, I'm Paul Burchill. Arr.
Okay.
All right.
Let's
get into
the
it.
movie.
Yeah, let's do the movie.
Yeah.
Let's do the movie.
Enough shenanigans.
Yeah, we're already 7 hours into this thing. Let's just go. I've put it off long enough. Let's go.
This movie starts off, we see David Arquette and Scott Conn,
Yeah.
a.k.a. Gordy and Sean.
You remember the
they're
character
hanging
names?
out. I do, yeah.
All right.
I had a hard time remembering Sean because they don't say his name as much. They say Gordy all the time, and it's David Arquette.
Okay.
And everyone knows David Arquette. Scott Conn, he's been in tons of stuff, but he's like one of those guys you're just like, oh, he's in everyone, like in all the Oceans movies. He's the one guy you're just like, I don't know his name, but I know he's in stuff.
Yeah, I think he's the son of James Conn, celebrated film actor.
Could be.
I think he starred. I don't think he might have left it by now, but Hawaii Five-0, that reboot on CBS that your grandparents might be watching. I don't really know.
Well, I'm not watching it.
Yeah, I ain't
but
watching it.
If
I don't know
he's in
anyone
it,
who watches
maybe
CBS.
I'll give it a
America's
maybe I'll
favorite
give it a
network.
shot. So they're hanging out at a convenience store, and they live in middle of nowhere, Wyoming, and Sean is talking about wrestling is the new mythology and all that to these three little kids, and Gordy is just hanging out reading a wrestling magazine, WCW magazine, advertised at the beginning of the VHS tape.
Yeah.
And the clerk comes out and throws the kids' bikes around, and he's saying how wrestling is dumb and stupid. And that sets Gordy off after he slips his icy, cheesy, or not cheesy, cherry freezy or whatever. And then you get this great scene where he busts into the convenience store.
Dream sequence,
yeah, it's a dream sequence. And he's trash talking the convenience store clerk there, and they're going back and forth, and he's like, your bald head's looking mighty shiny, rat's ass. And I don't know, they've got weird insults.
It.
And then it turns into a tag team brawl in the convenience store. So the convenience store clerk, his tag team partner is Macho Man. Ooh yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm the Macho Man. Oh yeah. That's how you do a Macho Man impression, Kevin.
But mine is clearly out of practice, I guess. And Gordy's tag team partner is Jimmy the King.
I think Jimmy King, played by Oliver Platt, who...
Oh, it's not the King? Well,
I think it's Jimmy King.
Jimmy King. Does he have a last name? Jimmy King?
I think it's just King. I think it might just be his name.
That's okay. That's all
I don't
right.
know. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. But yeah, Jimmy King's played by Oliver Platt, who I know mostly from 3 to Tango with Matthew Perry and Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams, as I am the only Bicentennial Man supporter on the planet.
And you're the one of two people who remember 3 to Tango?
3 to Tango's super funny. If
3 to Tango is great.
My buddy Kyle was willing to leave his basement and never talk to people, he would back me up.
So that could possibly be 3, but now we're just talking about an imaginary person named Kyle.
He's real.
also
He's
likes the
real,
movie.
everybody.
Yeah, is he? Is he though?
I know you've never met him, but he's from Canada. Don't worry about it. So yeah, it turns into a tag team match with the Clerk, played by Ahmet Zappa, one of the Zappa kids, and Randy Macho Man Savage against Jimmy King and Gordy, and the convenience store turns into a straight up wrestling ring, and it has the bounce of a wrestling ring too, which I thought was kind of interesting that they did that. So like it's like a full on wrestling ring, and Jimmy King and Gordy win easily, of course, because it's Gordy's weird like fever dream.
Brain freeze dream.
Brain freeze dream, and then he wakes up and
and then he puts his finger in his butt and then demands a new cherry icy because it smells like butt. He stink palms his thing.
So when Ahmed Zappa
first point of discussion.
First
fingers
thing,
and
you
butts.
can't see me, everybody, but I'm pointing at him already. So at the beginning, when the clerk throws the bikes and he's like, wrestling's for idiots. Well, he uses a different word, but I ain't going to use it. Wrestling's for idiots or whatever. You're like, hey, he's mean. But then Gordy and Sean turn out to be crazy idiots. So in a way, he's right. So he's like, it's only stupid people like wrestling. And then you got Gordy sticking hands up his butt to get free refills. And Sean's a stupid idiot. So, I mean, in a way, the clerk's not wrong. So the whole like wrestling
given his experience is 3 like 8-year-old kids and then Sean and Gordy. Yeah. He's got a good point.
But I mean, away, like
he doesn't know fine wrestling enthusiasts like yourself and I.
Yeah, I'm cool. My fingers are covered in Cheeto dust, like everybody else. I put my pants on one leg at a time.
Sweatpants,
sweatpants. Yeah, my pants don't fit me anymore because I'm fat from the Cheetos.
From the Cheetos. Wow. After this little dream sequence, Gordy's dad shows up, and everyone in his family is a cop, and they're like, backwater, like they're the law.
Yeah, like straight up blotter cops with the big hats and everything, and the sunglasses. They all look like the cop. They look like the cop from Oh Brother Where Art Thou, like the main villain cop.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wow, that's a good reference.
I'll be bringing up better movies throughout this whole thing. Just got to do it.
Ooh, man. This is a good movie. What are you talking about? We get a good line from the dad at one point in this movie where like Gordy's sister became a cop and his line is like, yep, she shot her first perp today. And it's like, oh, okay. That's just...
That hasn't aged well.
How it is. No, not at all. Gordy's dad wants him to become a police officer of the law instead of their septic.
They like do sewage tank service for porta potties.
Yeah,
and residential areas.
Which is all Sean's family left him because he doesn't have any family. Which they didn't. This movie focuses a little more on Gordy than Sean, but Sean was a really good character in this.
Sean is like the only. He's like the normal one of the two. I kind of feel bad for him because he has to hang out with Gordy, and Gordy's like the embarrassing idiot, and he's just like kind of a normal, good-looking dude who should know better, I guess.
Yeah, Sean Conn is a pretty handsome fella. Not
Scott
gonna lie.
Conn.
Scott
Conn.
Sean Scott, same thing.
Hulk Hogan.
That guy. What? Hulk Hogan?
I'm just gonna throw a bunch of names at you so you don't know who anyone is anymore.
I'm just getting confused. What is going on? Malfunctioning. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Lost my train of thought here.
So Gordy's family's a bunch of cops. Sean doesn't really have a family. They're sewage tank workers.
And they're going to Monday Nitro.
Yeah, which they call Monday Night Nitro, despite the fact this is a WCW co-production, and they should know better.
What it's called.
No, it's Monday Nitro. It's Monday Nitro.
Okay. Monday Nitro. Sorry.
That's the whole point, is that Nitro kind of sounds like night, so it's like Nitro.
Wow. It's taken me 30 years to realize that because I was aware of the title when I was 2.
You were just going on living your life while I was just sitting here covered in Cheeto dust and ranch flavored Doritos watching wrestling every Monday night.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right, fair enough. Let's just do it.
When Sean and Gordy are talking about going to Nitro, they're emptying some porta potties, and Gordy plays a trick on Shawn that involves the vacuum and Shawn sitting on the toilet and trying to get sucked through the porta potty hole. So Shawn was like, if you try and prank me, which Gordy does, something bad's gonna happen to King. And that's just the bad juju already going into Monday Nitro. And sure enough, what happens at Monday Nitro? Something bad to King. But as soon as we get to the scene in the arena for Monday Nitro, we got a great match going on with Rey Mysterio and Kidman and Juventud Guerrera and a fourth person who I couldn't see very well.
I believe that's Prince Iaukea. He was a one-time TV champion, and he just kind of hung out for a bit. By the time this movie came out, he was the artist formerly known as Prince Iaukea.
A.K.A. The Artist.
Yeah. Tafka Prince Iaukea.
Yeah. Let's see. And yeah, I don't know where to go from there.
Okay. Well, so they get to Monday Night. Well, before Monday Nitro, they run into their respective love interests, or Shawn's respective love interests at the fast food place. He's got a crush on this girl named Brittany who wants something to do with him because he hangs out with an idiot like Gordy and likes pro wrestling, which honestly, I don't blame her for. But there's a lady called Wendy who is a wrestling nerd, and she totally wants to hang out with Shawn. So we get that introduction. So Shawn's got some love stuff going on leading into Monday Nitro.
And Wendy's not too bad on the eyes either.
Yeah, and she seems like a cool lady who's totally fleshed out and appears a lot in this movie.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, but Gordy's love life circles around a Nitro girl named Sasha, played by Rose McGowan,
who hated being in this movie.
Did she?
Yeah. Totally loathed being in this movie.
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I didn't know that.
Nope, that was. Yep, that happened.
Yeah, she she gets introduced as like the lead Nitro girl, like, or something or whatever. And the Nitro girls are a lot more strippery in this movie than they were in real life.
Yeah, and they also show up in random places.
Yeah, as Nitro girls do.
Of course. So at Monday Nitro, we get that first match, and Gordy and Shawn had tickets from Shawn's uncle, and they're the worst seats in the building because they're nosebleed, and like they've got like a support beam that's 3 feet off the ground right on them. And did you notice that even though maybe it was this scene? Let me check my notes here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Even though this is a movie set, the arena is still not full for Monday Nitro.
Yeah, there's like 500 people there, I think, maybe tops.
Yeah, it's not like they filmed it at a Nitro. This is clearly like a studio, but they couldn't even get enough extras to. They didn't even like WWE it, where they push them all in one area. Actually, I think they do that with like most sports movies, like. You know, like Little Big League or Rookie of the Year. It's like when they're doing shots for certain areas of the parks or whatever, they just push all the extras into it.
Yeah.
Couldn't even do it. That's miss number 1, WCW, for your own movie.
Dare you? So, meanwhile, while all this is going on, they go backstage where Titus Sinclair, the most evil of names, played by. I'm going to fuck this guy's name up. So I'm just going to call him Joey Pants. I think everyone's going to know who that is. Joe Pantoliano. He gets called Joey Pants sometimes. From The Sopranos, from The Goonies. He's the evil Cypher, I think, from The Matrix.
Yes. He was in the Daredevil movie.
Okay. So we go so we go backstage. He pulls DDP aside and he's like, tonight we're going to do something.
Tonight's your night.
We're going to do something a little different. And whatever, and because Jimmy King's late, and they're just sick of his bullshit.
King, though, is undefeated, has the World Heavyweight Championship, and has the longest win streak in the history of wrestling.
While Goldberg's just there going, hey.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Awkward.
The longest win streak, I believe, now belongs to Asuka.
Probably.
I think at least for the past 20, 30 years.
Yeah, something like that. I feel like the biggest win streak was probably Andre the Giant, but we don't have to go into that. We're already off topic. So the fix is in.
Semantics here.
Jimmy King makes his way out with the King's Court. His group is Kurt Hennig, Conan, and Saturn. Which I was going to bring this up afterwards, but Saturn was already in WWF at the time. He was already there by the time this movie came out. And Saturn has seen a lot. So that's an interesting thing as it goes through this movie. King does his whole entrance thing complete with a rap, which is terrible.
if we can find a good clip of it, we'll put it in at some point.
Honestly, it sounds like they reworded like a Run DMC song because I think
it is Run DMC's King of Rock.
Okay,
I'm the king of rock. There is none higher. Sucker MCs must call me sire.
And now we owe Run DMC $5,000.
That was a parody of Run DMC's King of Rock. We don't owe him nothing.
Fair enough. So Titus Sinclair gives him some shit off mic. King is just like, whatever, I'm egotistical, I'm the world champion. And Sinclair just like seethes. He's defending the title against Diamond Dallas Page, who Sinclair talked to earlier. And it starts off as a normal match. Like they're calling spots, they're calling moves. But then all of a sudden, like Sinclair and DDP give each other the evil eye. And they go off script. And then it becomes real.
Right. Everything is real.
Everything is
Wrestling
real.
is real.
Wrestling becomes real. And so they just start like legit punching each other. I think DDP slingshots, like not slingshot, was like monkey flips Jimmy King through a table on the floor.
Yep.
DDP's goons, which include Juventud, Guerrera, Sid, Bam Bam, Prince Ikea, and Heavy Metal Van Hammer. Were you Heavy Metal Van Hammer
assortment.
Fan? Yeah, no, everyone's
I was a little bit of a Van Hammer fan.
I liked Heavy Metal Van Hammer. I liked him. He showed up in 1991 with like 3 months of experience under his belt and did what he could. And he actually was getting better before WCW was like, never mind.
That's pretty good. Pretty sure he was in WCW NWO Revenge. Pretty sure he was a character.
Yeah, because he was
there.
part of the Flock.
Pretty good. Right. Yeah.
All right, so that's his goons. So his goons show up because King starts fighting back in this very real match. So they show up and beat him up. King's weird assortment of goons show up to try and they turn on King.
Apparently, this is a no DQ match, which they didn't really go through. Every match is like a no DQ match.
It's WCW at the time. Like it's actually kind of on point. Nothing made sense, and there was always a bunch of run-ins. So they all beat him up. King gets his ass kicked, and they take him out with the 4-post massacre.
Four-post massacre.
Yeah.
I have to point out one thing that this movie reminded me of because, I mean, there's lots of WCW personalities in here. Mean Gene's calling the entrance. You got probably one of my favorite. I'm not going to say they're my absolute favorite, but one of my favorite announce teams of Tony Schiavone and Mike Tenay.
The Professor.
The Professor, yeah. That's actually one of the things I remember most about WCW is I love Tony Schiavone. He's a great announcer. I mean, no disrespect for JR or pretty much a lot of people. But yeah, something about Tony Schiavone and Mike Tenay. And then, when they had Bobby Heenan on the mic with them, it's good chemistry. But Schiavone, you had them on the mics, and everyone knew what a 4-post massacre was. Everyone got up, and Gordy's like, "Oh no, it's a 4-post massacre." And then Tony Schiavone goes, "Oh my God, it's a 4-post massacre." Yeah.
No, I like Tony Schiavone too. To go back to that, Schiavone gets a lot of shit because he had to say a lot of dumb stuff towards the end. He had to do the that'll put butts in seats thing when Mankind won the world title. Early 1999, and he always got a lot of flack for that. But Schiavone's a great announcer, and like when he was passionate about it, he was great. Towards the end, you could tell he was kind of done, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, and people can only do so much in situations like that. But during peak wrestling peak WCW and, when wrestling was at its height of popularity in the 90s, just on point every week. It was great.
I agree.
Back to the match.
Yeah, so the four-post massacre occurs. King loses. DDP becomes the champion. Gordy and Sean react like they just watched their mother get shot.
And Sinclair sends King out of the WCW forever.
I thought when he went down and like told him, I thought he was going to give him like a kiss of death on the forehead or something. Didn't it seem like it was leading to that?
Kinda, yeah.
You're done. Mwah. Like that's what I thought was going to happen. Like maybe not with that sound effect, but I need to do that because it's an audio podcast. You're done. Blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. So Gordy,
a little too much of kiss of death.
Gordy and Sean leave and they start crying, mainly tears because they're men, damn it, and it's the allergies and it's not watching a wrestler lose a match. How old are these fuckers supposed to be?
No idea.
Okay, because
I would say 20s, mid to late 20s.
Because they act like
enough where they should have their lives together.
At least a little more together. Like I didn't have my life together when I was in my 20s. I won't lie to you, but I mean, like
enough together for a backwater
yeah.
Wyoming 20-year-old, I guess.
Yeah, because like so Gordy and Sean, I don't know. It's just because Gordy gets ordered around by his family a bunch. Sean is kind of like a man baby, and it's just confusing because it feels like they're like 14-year-olds, which is then like, hey, wrestling fans are dumb 14-year-olds, which is again proving that cashier clerk right at the beginning of this movie. I'm gonna harp on that a lot. I don't like what this movie says about wrestling fans, and yeah, so they start crying or whatever, and then they crash their septic truck full of poo, and then that truck gets crashed into by a truck with toilet paper.
Yeah. How often does that happen? Wah, wah.
That's probably a weekly occurrence in Wyoming, but I don't know anyone who lives there or who admits to living there. So,
very fair, very fair. Since their septic truck has crashed, and that was all of Sean's worldly possessions, apparently.
Yeah, I guess. I don't think he lives anywhere.
They decide they gotta find King. They gotta find King. No matter what it takes to convince him to get that title back. God. Damn, dude. By God, John, they gotta get the King back in the ring.
Stop shaking me. I get it. All right.
Mwah.
Oh, thanks, man. So they decide to find Jimmy King. They find this like kid hacker dude playing a really shitty Jimmy King arcade game.
Ooh, the worst graphics ever.
Yeah, with like real bad graphics.
For whatever reason, they figure they have to head to Atlanta. And they get a ride from a bunch of nuns in a van.
Right,
they teach him Van Halen's Running with the Devil, and that's a whole scene.
That's a thing that takes up a few minutes of movie time.
Yeah, is nuns singing Kumbaya and Gordy going, "Do you guys know any Van Halen?" And the nuns, of course, they don't.
Well, that one nun lady knows like all the words when they take it to her, so I think they did know.
Maybe that's okay. I don't know the last time you watched Little Nicky, but maybe that's one of Stephen Brill's favorite songs because that song shows up in Little Nicky.
I have never seen Little Nicky, and I never will. So drop it.
Oh man, I'm gonna make you watch that next.
So they meet that kid who hacks. He hacks something on an Angel Fire website? I guess there's like an Angel Fire GeoCities website that has hacking
the net
stuff. On the internet.
Right. The website he goes to I think was called Hackers Planet,
and it had like those little fire like clip art things going on, like the shit we used to put on old Angel Fire sites to be cool, like scrolling text and stuff. So it turns out that Jimmy King's autobiography, which said like he went to school and his parents are dead and all this shit, is wrong, and he's got a hillbilly wife and like a real like Deliverance looking giant son named Frankie with bad teeth.
Who looks the exact same age as Jimmy.
Yeah, and is way taller than both old people. His wife's played by Caroline Ray, who was one of the aunts in Sabrina, the television show. After meeting King's family and King's parents, who are very much alive, they find...
Turns out Jimmy's pretty much a shitty human being all around.
Yeah, he's a shitty person who deserved to get fucked over. is really what this all just points to.
Yeah. His whole family hates him. His skipped out on his wife, and yeah, all kinds
Stole
of
a
stuff.
motorhome, which he's hiding out in. Gordy and Sean find him, and he's like dressed up as a lady, trying to avoid unseen forces. I don't know who. Probably tax people, I would assume.
Could be. The weird thing is they don't really say in the movie, but how soon after Monday Nitro would you think this takes place? Because just given the situation, obviously King's not good with money, and owes a lot of people money. But is this like the day after? A couple days after? Did it take them like a month to get there?
I think it's a couple days after, because I think they went from when their truck crashed, they started hitchhiking, then they decided to hitchhike a different way. So I think it's only a day or two after. I don't know how far Wyoming and Georgia are. I'm not really good with geography. But yeah, so it only took them like a couple days to get there. So I think this time frame is real short.
Yeah, that's fair.
So they find Jimmy King, and they find out that he's a loser pretty much. But they're still Jimmy King fans. So they're like, you know what? We're going to help you anyway. And they get him like revved up enough to beat them up. And they get excited when Jimmy King beats them up and rules them, if you will.
Yeah, that's his catchphrase.
Oh.
I will rule you.
Perfect.
Yes.
So now Jimmy King's like, hell yeah, let's go do this thing. So they get to backstage on the next, well, I guess it might have been a week then, because it's another episode of Nitro.
Was it Nitro?
Yeah.
Or could it have been Thunder? It was Nitro.
They gave up on Thunder by this point. It was still on, but no one gave a shit.
They don't acknowledge Thunder ever.
Yeah.
Even when it was on, they didn't acknowledge Thunder.
Oh, Thunder. It's on the network now. You should watch some of it. It's terrible.
That's when Glacier made his debut, I believe.
I love Glacier. I think
He's so
Glacier's
good.
very underrated. But anyway, moving on. So Gordy and Sean get a porta potty, and they hide Jimmy King in there, and King attacks DDP and Titus during a live segment. Live backstage interview. Yeah, full on, like he wraps like a toilet seat around his head and like beats the ever-loving shit out of him. And Titus Sinclair's like, hey, let's not do that. And then they're like, no, let's get a match going or whatever. So Titus agrees to a cage match. And if Jimmy King wins, he gets the WCW World Title or the WCW belt and $1 million. And if King loses, he never gets to wrestle again, because there's no other wrestling company in this world.
The winner, no matter who it was, would get the $1 million.
Oh, that's true. My fault. So there's stakes. So they announced the stakes of their major match, which Jimmy King is not exactly excited about. He thought because he was like, oh, I blindsided them. I'm not going to be able to do it like when he's actually paying attention. So they bring him to fake Stu Hart, Sal Bandini.
Sal Bandini. Want to wrestle? Sal Bandini.
Sal Bandini, wanna wrestle?
Yeah. So Sal Bandini is Stu Hart. It's like a weird, like goofy version of Stu Hart who beats up a high school wrestling team and then just like kicks the shit out of Jimmy King, despite being old. And he's like there to train Jimmy King to make him a better wrestler, even though because he's going to be fighting for real. So I guess he needs to train to become like a real professional wrestler.
Yeah, it was all smoke and mirrors up to that point. Titus finds out who is training Jimmy King, and that's when he sends Sid Vicious and Perry Saturn after him.
That does happen later on, yeah.
That doesn't go incredibly well for them, but he's a resilient old guy, and the only way that they take him down is by just giving him chair shots.
Yeah, they hit him once with a chair, which puts him in a neck brace, gives him a black eye, and makes they have to like put bandage around his head. That was a really hard chair shot, apparently.
Apparently so. He was talking in the hospital. He had a line in the hospital that he's like, my head hurts and my ribs are broken and I'm crapping tapioca and I feel like a kid again. What did they do to you, Sal?
Yeah, like do you think like they hit him with the chair and they just like punched him for 5 minutes? That's one of the deleted scenes where they just take turns punching him.
Could be. But apparently he got some good shots in as well, because you see them later on and they've got black eyes and Sid Vicious is crying. And
yeah, I don't even think he touched Sid Vicious during that attack either, which is kind of funny.
Got to be some deleted scenes out there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, there's a whole lot of character stuff they did not throw into this movie, man. There's a Snyder cut somewhere.
Perry Saturn has some great character development in this movie. I'm
and
sure
hair originally.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, so that happens later on.
Sasha
in the
hospitals
Sasha goes back to, she tries to seduce Gordy, like she like does they go on a date like in her apartment, and she's like, want to wrestle, wink, and Gordy's like, okay, and like beats her up or something, like they like for real wrestle.
Yeah, because he's the oblivious idiot throughout this movie.
Oh,
she takes her shirt off and she's like, check these out. He goes, foreign objects, and then they punch each other? Sex? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't actually know if they fuck or not. I don't think Gordy fucks.
We know Sean does.
Yeah, Sean fucks. Oh, Sean fucks day and night. Gordy is 5 years old and doesn't know what sex is and has to creep at like Nitro Girl locker rooms and stuff and just be like, hi, nice to meet you, boobies. And like all that fucking dumb shit. Because again, wrestling fans are idiots.
Gordy is anyway.
Yeah. But later on, so when they're back at the hospital, that's when we find like she overhears Sasha talking to Titus Sinclair about wanting to leave because she's done trying to seduce this guy or whatever. She's sick of the bullshit, I guess, and I guess she's banging Titus for real to get a spot as like the lead Nitro Girl. Although it already felt like she was the lead Nitro Girl anyway, so it's kind of like she was doing it for nothing.
That's the way they made it seem. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. And Gordy overhears, there's fantastic product placement for Butterfingers.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone keeps asking for Butterfingers in the hospital.
And then turning to the camera and then like their teeth shine.
Yes.
Would you like a Butterfinger? Ding!
They even like King gets pushed a little in his chest and he's just like, you broke my Butterfinger, man.
Oh, God. You broke my Butterfinger, baby. God damn it. All right. So so King decides like he
needs a posse.
Well, no, he reconnects with his family, heads back to Wyoming.
Yeah.
And then
whatever.
Yeah. And then Gordy's cop dad is like, you're going to be a cop. And then Gordy's like, yeah, all right. So he decides, Gordy's like, I'm not going to be part of this group anymore. I need to get my life together. I'm 48 years old. I don't know what I'm doing with myself.
Nobody knows my real age.
I was married three times.
This is my adopted family.
I used to work in the stock market. I need to get myself back in order. And then after that, they decide they need a posse because Sean sticks with King and they decide to hold tryouts for a posse that does not factor into this movie again after this scene, really. I think you see them in the background at the last act, but they don't do shit. And it's like, what is it? It's a fireman, a guy who chews tobacco, and then like some titty lady.
That is exactly how she is credited, actually.
Like Pretty Kitty or something like that. And like
something weird like that.
When she shows up, King has like the one funny line in there where he's just like, what are they going to do? What's she going to do? Boob him to death? Which is the only... I watched this movie with my girlfriend, and this is the only time she laughed through the whole thing, and this was for the 2 seconds I wasn't embarrassed to be watching it with her.
It was a funny line. Yes.
Yeah, that's probably like the best line in the whole movie, and it's probably ad-libbed because Oliver Platt was just like, I need to do something. For the love of God.
Has, Shakespearean acting chops, and he needs to add his one improv into this.
I went to Juilliard, God damn it. I was in Othello, but not as Othello because I know better. So anyway, back to the movie. King and Sean, before they leave for Las Vegas, like the day before the show, Wendy shows up, and then Sean and her have sex in the back of the trailer or whatever, the RV, the motorhome, if you will.
The motorhome. King's palace.
Yeah, the king's court, the king's palace, the king's.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So they that leads to a moment of Sean running around naked or whatever, and whatever he fucks. Sean fucks.
Right. We figured that out.
Yeah.
But they do need a good posse since the tryouts went so well, and they approach Goldberg. Goldberg does not team up with anyone. Did it?
Yeah, so what happened?
But we
that
didn't
happened,
talk about it.
Yeah, so before the reason they needed
Goldberg
the
was
posse,
just like,
yeah.
no, I don't. I don't team with anyone. And just doing some research in this, in the background of the gym scene when they're asking Goldberg is a young John Cena. Prototype John Cena.
Oh, like freaky muscle John Cena. Ooh.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, it's not that Goldberg doesn't team with anyone. Goldberg and Jimmy King were partners, but King showed up drunk and like hit him or something. And Goldberg's now he wants nothing to do with the King.
Right. Now Goldberg is
Yeah.
a loner.
So
A
no
rebel.
Goldberg. So instead we have Fireman, Titty Lady, and Chaw Guy.
Choose tobacco more.
Yeah. So on to the Royal Bash held at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, the same location for Halloween Havoc the last like 4 or 5 years in real WCW.
What was the pay-per-view called? It was like Royal...
The Royal Bash.
The Royal Bash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
A made up
Bash.
Royal Bash at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas.
Which they made this cage match, which is the triple cage of death or
The
something
triple
like
decker
that.
cage, yeah.
And that actually did make an appearance in WCW after
Yes,
that.
it does, which we will get to after we're done with the movie. But yeah, the triple cage does appear again in real life.
That's
Which is
crazy.
Yeah, it's terrible. So we go to the arena backstage. Titus Sinclair meets up with Sting. Hey, Sting's in the movie, and Titus
Sting
Sinclair
shows up. How about that?
Yeah, Sting's like, "Don't let Jimmy King grab the belt, and he just goes like, mess this up, and I will kill you. I fucking mean it." And you're like, "Fuck, all right, damn."
Yeah, this was 90s or 2000, well, the year 2000. So we'll say 90s, 2000s. PG-13, they got away with one F word, and that's when it drops.
They got their fuck, and you're just like, "Wow, he means business." All right, I mean, like, you're gonna murder somebody on live pay-per-view.
Do you think, and we can touch upon this more afterwards, but just given that scene, do you think Titus is supposed to be more Eric Bischoff or Vince Russo?
I think he's supposed to be Eric Bischoff, because Wyoming's
Fair.
actually where Eric Bischoff is from too, which is kind of funny. I think that's where all the Wyoming stuff comes from, or he lives in
that's fair.
Wyoming. But yeah, I think Titus Sinclair is supposed to be Eric Bischoff, and I think they threw in Montreal Screwjob stuff, so maybe like a little Vince McMahon, but they wouldn't admit that.
That's fair.
Yeah. So anyway, Sinclair threatens to murder Sting. Michael Buffer shows up to do the thing you expect him to do, except he doesn't do it exactly like you expect it to. Did you hear that? Did you
No.
notice that too? Because he doesn't
I
go.
did.
He doesn't go. Let's get ready to rumble. He says it like completely different. And you're like, you're here for. You have one job, Michael Buffer. You got
This is
one
the thing
job.
you did like every WCW pay-per-view and also all those boxing events.
And MMA probably.
And,
or is that Bruce
oh.
Buffer? It might be his brother.
I don't know. I didn't watch
Yo,
a lot
Raymond,
of
I'm your
MMA
brother.
back then.
Yeah. So.
Hey, I'm your brother over
Hey.
here, ready
Yeah,
to
so-
rumble.
So Michael Buffer doesn't even do his one line the way you expect it to, which is fucking ridiculous. Maybe he wanted too much money for it. Jimmy King's ready. Sean's decked out in like a pimp red suit. The match starts. Jimmy,
we get actual WCW referees in this
and then
as
Charles
well.
Robinson. Well, Charles Robinson was in it earlier. I think he's in it again.
Yeah, and King and DDP go at it, and then DDP's goons come out.
Well, he gets handcuffed to the cage by Sean after Sean throws like powder in his face, and DDP's like, "That's not real salt, idiot. Wrestling fans are stupid." And you're like, all right, fair enough.
That's not real.
Wrestling isn't real. So yeah, so he gets handcuffed to that, and then so out come DDP's goons, and I guess Titus Sinclair's goons by proxy.
Right. Which one of them is a masked guy who turns out to be dun 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 Jimmy's son.
Frankie with his fucked up teeth.
Yeah.
So Frankie gets his revenge. They're beating up on him and do fireman
Frankie's
pretty kitty.
revenge.
Yeah.
Ready to Rumble 5. Frankie's revenge.
Gross. So do Chawman, Titty Lady, and Fireman help?
No. Not even a little in the beginning.
Instead,
They don't do
yeah.
anything.
Instead, out comes Goldberg, who leads the charge with Booker T, Kidman.
and Disco Inferno.
Yeah, man, the legendary
What?
Disco Inferno.
What?
Disco Inferno is like the toughest man in WCW history.
No.
You about to disrespect? You can't disrespect Disco Inferno. Not on this show.
I'm gonna disrespect
Disrespect him for his
Disco
terrible
Inferno.
views on pro wrestling, but not 2000 era Disco Inferno.
No way. Disco Inferno. Boo.
All right.
Boo.
Agree to disagree. So they show up. They can't open the cage, so out comes Gordy on a police cycle to break open the fucking cage, and now he's dressed like a cop. So he's the law, Gordy Boggs. He does have a last name, Gordy Boggs. I just remembered that.
Gordy Boggs.
Officer Boggs. You know what? That's
Officer
fucking
Boggs.
backwards as shit. So yeah, so Gordy shows up.
It really is.
Yeah. Gordy
shows up,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just, he's helping out. Everyone's helping out. And for whatever reason, Sasha
Yeah.
is in the cage as well and trying to make amends with Gordy and gets hit in the face with a ladder.
Yeah, and she like
Because
falls
that's
down.
what happens.
She falls down open-eyed, so you're like, well, she's dead.
Too many people die in the cage.
Yeah, Sasha just like shows. Yeah, you're right. Like she just shows up out of nowhere. Like she just like walks in, and is
Right.
like, "Hey, Gordy, let's talk."
She was hornswoggling it and hiding underneath the ring.
The Nitro Girls. That's where they were. That's where they were in between segments. They just hid under the
That's
ring.
why, pretty much, for whatever. Yeah, let's just go with that.
Why the hell not? So the action
and
continues. They go up a lot of
King
nut
and-
shots as King and DDP fight to the top.
There's a lot throughout this movie, actually.
Yeah, there's
a lot of nut shots. Like
a lot of balls.
slapsticky, no pun intended, slapstick. Slapsticky nut shots throughout the movie. Beginning, middle, end. They're all, you got a nut shot for every act of the movie.
Yeah, and which is great because movies need a little more nut shotting in it. I think that sounded gross, but you know what I meant. Punches to the balls.
We don't talk about those kinds of movies, John.
Yeah, my fault. That's come hang out on Pornhub Flicks, my other podcast.
Ooh, no cheap plugs. No cheap plugs.
But yeah, so
As
there's
deep-
a lot
as-
of ball punching and ball kicking in this movie, which more movies could use. Like I feel like La La Land wouldn't have lost Best Picture if they had done a couple more some ball shots. Like if Emma Stone kicked Ryan Gosling in the balls, then that
Ryan
movie would've won.
Gosling, it's in his contract. I've seen it that he doesn't get nut shotted.
It's Article 6, Section 12.
He's got great lawyers.
Fuck it, I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, Kevin's dying.
Oh yeah, dying of greatness from this movie.
So
As DDP and King make their way up, they kind of go back and forth. The one gets best over the other, and then DDP's almost at the top, right? And then Sting finally comes into play.
Well, DDP and
Was
King,
just-
DDP like throws him off onto the first, like the top of the first cage. I think was supposed to be
Yeah.
that.
Right.
And then as you said, Sting shows up.
Sting flies in and knocks him, DDP, all the way to the ring.
No, he's still on
Right?
the cage. No, he's still on the cage.
He's still in the cage.
Yeah, so Sting comes in fucking Tarzan style. Like he doesn't do the yell, but he like runs in, he knocks DDP off the top of the cage, and he's like on like either the second or third one. And then Sting meets up with Gordy and Sean on the floor and then punches them out because they had the temerity to have feelings. It was a gay joke. They made a gay
Yeah.
joke. And it was really
they
it's not
they
aged
love
well.
King, and it's okay. They're all men. They love King.
We can say
It's a
we love
thing.
each other. It's fine. And then Sting punches them because ain't nobody with a dick saying they love Sting.
Nobody tells Sting who he loves and who he does not.
God damn it. And then back up to
King-
the cage. Yeah, so King and DDP.
And that's when King
Yeah.
knocks DDP down to the mat,
yeah, he's
murdering DDP.
He clotheslines,
Zeus style.
or no, he body slams DDP through the very obvious hole, that like the very obvious square that he was going to fall through. And he goes through all the
mankind
way
square.
onto the, like smashes onto the mat. Almost Zeus style. I was expecting the ring to cave in, but it doesn't.
But he's a little bloodied up.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely fucked him up, man. That was like a Mankind Hell in a Cell 1998 fall.
Absolutely. It was brutal.
Yeah, it
if
was pretty
were real.
brutal. But King wins. King's WCW champion. King has $1 million. Sean becomes his new manager, and Gordy becomes his new tag team partner.
The law. And Sinclair gets thrown to the wolves a.k.a. the fans, who stomp the ever-living shit out of him.
Yeah, they murder him. I'm pretty sure he dies. Like, I was expecting to see them, like, rip off limbs.
This is a remake of No Holds Barred, except instead of Rip just tearing up someone's... instead of Rip tearing up Zeus's gym, he just goes back to his trailer.
Yeah. This is pretty much No Holds Barred. There's a lot of No Holds Barred-y stuff to it.
Yep.
Also, there's a little Good Burger-y to it, because isn't, like, one of the plots of Good Burger is they try to seduce the simpleton with the hot lady? Wasn't that, like, Ed had, like, some lady that was trying to seduce him?
Carmen Electra, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, man. You know, I was trying to think of it the whole episode, but we weren't able to throw in Chuck Denomalos anywhere.
Oh, well,
because that's what we've been doing the last 3 movies. Chuck Denomalos gets thrown in somewhere.
Yeah.
Now this is the honorable mention, I guess. But no character close to him, or some dude all in black, or someone who won't take a Faith No More guitarist back to his original time.
Yeah. Chucky Denomalos. Paulie Chronopoulos. But yeah, so King wins. King, Gordy is now a wrestler despite having no training. Sean is now a manager for some reason. His dad is now, like, super pumped that he's a wrestling guy because he's wrestling as a cop, I guess.
Apparently that's all it took.
Why the hell not? And then the movie ends with Goldberg in his wrestling underwears, beating up Ahmet Zappa and or Zappa. I always it's Zappa, right? I'm not hip. Frank Zappa?
Frank Zappa?
Yeah. So Ahmet Zappa, and they beat him up, and then that's kind of how the movie ends. The movie ends with Goldberg, Jimmy King, and Gordy beating up a helpless clerk. Ready to rumble.
Totally legit. Wrestling's real.
Yeah, wrestling's real. Wrestling is not fake.
Good callback. Good callback to Gordy's line.
Hell yeah. So that's Ready to Rumble. Kevin, what did you think?
Fun movie. I enjoyed it. It's very dated. It has a great soundtrack. If you were a teenager in the late 90s and early 2000s, you had great
soundtrack. I forgot.
Great artists such as Kid Rock, who had 2 songs.
Yes.
Biff Naked, Lit, that one famous song by
Played
Lit.
Twice.
It was played twice. I guess I didn't. Excuse me. I guess I didn't realize that it was played twice.
Yeah, it's like 2 different
that's
driving
pretty great.
scenes. It has My Own Worst Enemy playing in the background. They really got their money's worth from that Lit song. It was lit.
That makes sense. Ooh, heyo.
Gucci Fleek.
Funny guy over
Gucci
here.
Fleek. Gucci
So
Fleek.
looking at the soundtrack on Amazon.
Okay.
You've also got Offspring. You've got Run DMC's King of Rock. House Pain. Papa Roach was on here. POD.
Jesus Christ.
Quite a throwback for anyone who was.
Is Saliva on there? Or is it too early for Saliva?
No Saliva, no.
All right.
No Saliva. Sorry.
That was more a WWE thing anyway.
I guess so. But it really brings you back. And it brings you back to realize that time period of WCW was a little hard to watch.
Indeed.
In my opinion.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with you completely.
John, what did you think of the movie?
Well, since the podcast has started, I have not made it a secret that I don't like this movie, that I don't have fond memories of this movie. But you know what? I went in, I was like, maybe I'm just being a little bitch. Maybe I'm just being a little bitch boy. Maybe I'm just being a little sexy bitch boy about it. So I went in with open eyes, clear hearts, full eyes, clear hearts. Clear hearts, full eyes?
Can't lose.
I don't know.
Clear eyes, full hearts,
there
can't
it is.
Lose.
Yeah, so I went in and I was like, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. And within 3 minutes, I was like, oh, no. This movie is terrible. And it's fucking terrible.
Did it melt your face off?
Yeah, it was shitty. It was shitty. I don't know. The only good things I can say about this movie, I'll get them out front, is Martin Landau is the best part of this movie without a doubt. His Sal Bandini thing was fucking hilarious. I thought he was pretty cool.
I would agree with you there.
Yeah.
He was definitely the greatest character in this movie.
Yeah,
but you have to hand it to Oliver Platt too for his range as an actor. But
Oliver Platt,
the King was probably
he did what he
probably Yeah. Probably the best character who had more than 5 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, I'll give you that. So Oliver Platt did what he could. I never really bought him as a wrestler because, I mean, it's Oliver fucking Platt. I mean, it's...
Yeah. That's
chubby dude
that's
from
a
Huff. I
legit
can't
point
do
of view.
it.
That's very understandable.
Yeah, so that...
And,
so
and the weird thing, too, is how Canyon, rest in peace, wrestler Canyon was his stunt double for this movie, which is like they're very different physiques, to put it nicely. But
yeah,
no,
he shows up a little
him.
skinnier
Sorry,
at points.
Right. Sorry, I was interrupting your thoughts on the movie.
Yeah, it's all good.
Continue.
It's all good. I'm used to it.
But I think...
Okay. So, yeah. So, I'll give it Martin Landau and to a lesser extent Oliver Platt because Kevin just made a good case for him. And the fact that the movie didn't feel long. I was expecting it to feel like 7 hours of torture, but it actually kind of flew by. So, I was surprised about that. I'll give it that. But otherwise, this movie is real shitty. A lot of it doesn't make any sense. Characters will just show up for convenience sake or, just they exist for a plot device and that's about it. The jokes aren't funny outside of Jimmy King's what are they going to do, boob him to death line. That's the only joke I liked in this whole movie. They're full of stereotypes about wrestling fans. It's full of stereotypes about like backwater hillbilly, like Jimmy King and his family are all just like a bunch of rednecks. And honestly, it treats pro wrestling fans like idiots. Which I know it's something it's stupid to really harp on that, I guess, and people will probably be like, "Stop being a little bitch boy about that." But it drives me crazy that a mainstream pro wrestling movie would, and like one that's done in conjunction with a wrestling company, would just think so little of the people who give them money that that's the shit they would put out.
Well, not only that, but the fact that this movie was made to try and get fans back.
Yeah, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? Like I will admit that my movie taste is perfect, but also I will admit that probably like I would think like maybe 99, 2000. I don't remember the kinds of comedies that were around back then because time just all feels the same to me. But I feel like this definitely had to be on the lower end of things. And like they decided, oh, we're going to get our fans back by just here's a dumb slapstick movie about idiot wrestling fans having the temerity to care so much about a stupid thing.
Fair.
Fair
so point.
I'm real like that stuff like really pisses me off. And it's stupid because I like a lot of stupid wrestling stuff and I like a lot of dumb shit out of here. Like outside of wrestling, and that's, whatever, but just something about the way that wrestling fans were portrayed in this movie kind of drive me nuts, even if I have met wrestling fans like that. They are the exception, not the rule.
Right.
So anyway,
if you had met a fan exactly like Gordy, you probably wouldn't be a person you'd want to meet. But what about if you met a wrestling fan like Sean?
Oh, Sean and I would get along, man. He fucks.
Yeah.
Sean fucks. So anyway, on to the rating part.
Whole reason why
I'm
two
gonna
get
go
along.
full dud. Dud straight up. No stars. Dud this movie. I hate this movie.
So
I hate everything about this fucking movie.
You would say 0 out of 5. You wouldn't even give it like half a star.
Nope.
I'm not going to talk you into your rating.
No, it's dud.
That's
It's
fair.
a straight up dud. That's what 0 star is. It's dud.
Dud. All right. Let's see.
What do you got?
I would give this movie 2 out of 5 stars. 2, yeah.
You fucking kidding me? Why?
No. I thought it was pretty good. I remember it pretty well compared to seeing as how I haven't seen this movie in probably like 7 or 8 years. Like anytime it was on HBO or Showtime or whatever, I'd usually kind of half watch it. I think it's funny. I definitely would not want to be around the type of wrestling fan that Gordy was. I thought it was pretty funny. Yeah, I don't hate this movie.
So you think this
I think
movie's
it's on
better
par
than
with
Mr.
Suburban
Nanny?
Commando, which not Suburban Commando. Jeez, oh god, no. Suburban Commando is the height of of movies we've watched so far.
Don't even
I
make
mean,
that
Mr.
joke.
Nanny. No, that was a mistake. That was a mistake.
You're right.
okay?
That Mr. Nanny episode was a mistake.
No.
Oh.
John.
Hey. Hey.
No, I would put it on par with Mr. Nanny. Mr. Nanny, I think, holds a little more. Well, they both hold some nostalgia, just because, again, the time frame this takes place. So it's just like even the soundtrack, as kind of, I guess, cringy as it is if you're listening to it now, but it brings me back to middle school, high school days.
I actually like the. You know what? The soundtrack is another good thing that I should have listed, because Ba with the Ba, da bang, boogie boogie, boogie woogie, jumpy boogie woogie is a really great song, and continues to be held up really well. Like it holds. I think it holds up. I think Ba with the Ba, da boom, da bang bang, boodly 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 bang boom boom is a really good song.
Say what you will about Kid Rock and his personality and views on pretty much everything in the world today.
Hall of Famer,
aside,
WWE Hall of Famer, Kid Rock.
Oh, that's right. Wow. Soon, do you think David Arquette will someday be a WWE Hall of Famer?
I think he deserves it. I mean, yeah, he deserves it.
Fair. Very fair.
He is a former world champion, after all.
He is, yes.
Okay, so you got 2 stars. I've got
true.
dud. That's going to drag the rating down, right? Was that going to be like 1 star? Is that how
One star.
1
1
star.
out of 5. Yeah.
At least we pulled the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, we did. So if you go on IMDb, there's a lot of interesting trivia. John, I don't know if you pulled a couple out just you'd like to talk about. I've got a couple as well.
No, my stuff is more related to the wrestling side. So if you want to go trivia on the movie itself, by all means, take it away.
Yeah, you got it. So we already talked about how Canyon was King's stunt double. Shane Helms, a.k.a. Hurricane Helms, one of my favorite wrestlers, was David Arquette's, according to a WWE interview of Arquette back in 2007. What's up with that? Yeah.
That is a thing he said.
That is, that man should have been a WWE world champion. Let's see. Yeah, Rose McGowan hated making this film. There was plans to do a sequel, but, seeing as how the company folded.
What do you think that would have been?
Probably not that great.
No, like, would it have been Jimmy King stuff still? Like, Ready to Rumble again?
Yeah, no idea. Ready to rumble even more?
I can't even fathom
the King's
them
Court.
wanting, because this movie didn't even make any money. Like, it was trashed by critics. No one saw it. And they were going to fucking make a sequel?
Apparently. Yeah, I don't know.
Were movies free to make back then?
They were.
Are bullets free?
Yeah. They're just throwing them out left and right. Hey, maybe we'll get a remake of this movie, though, seeing as how literally everything gets remade.
I'll write it.
Okay. WrassleFlicks presents Ready to Rumble, the remake. Apparently, the scene of Jimmy King getting screwed by Titus Sinclair was based off an issue between Bischoff and Ric Flair. And then, like, the actual match itself in the movie was based off the Montreal Screwjob. I think we kind of already talked about that. Yeah. Let's find a couple other ones. They talk about Rey Mysterio and being in the opening match, and he wasn't wearing this was his awesome no mask, I'm wearing camo thing.
His No Limit Soldier phase.
Yeah. And the main wrestler, Jimmy King, was based a mixture of Ric Flair and Jerry Lawler.
One of those I understand. The other one is Ric Flair.
Yes. Very, very weird. Yeah, that's kind of it. That's some interesting ones.
All right. Oh, Rey Mysterio got injured. I think,
yes.
Did we mention that?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, he injured his knee and was out for a few months shooting this movie. So this movie took one of WCW's only good wrestlers and put him out of action for this.
And they put in Disco Inferno. fucking Disco Inferno. They could have at least put Alex Wright in there.
Or Glacier.
No.
I don't think Glacier was around by then, actually. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't think he was. He was
Okay.
too cool to be in the movie.
Freeze.
Freeze ice.
Icy cool
Glacier.
freeze ice. These
But-
are very good impressions.
Just to recap, we had a great roster of wrestlers in this movie, and also Disco Inferno was in
And
there.
Prince Iakea.
And the artist formerly known as Prince Iakea. DDP, Goldberg, Sting.
Oh, damn. That sounds like a
Sorry.
fucking dirt sheet. Like, ooh, Sting sucks, so I'm going to call him Stink because I'm funny.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. I think he was one of,
didn't-
he might have been one
he
of
was-
the goons, the DDP goons.
He was, yeah.
Which makes sense
Brand-
because him and Canyon and DDP were in the Jersey Triad, I think, when they were shooting this movie in 99. So they were
Yeah.
tight. They were toy.
which is good. It was a good faction there. You got the one scene from Macho Man, Booker T, Sid Vicious, Hoovy showing up a bit more, which I think is great. You got great appearance of Kurt Hennig, Kidman, Conan, Saturn, Van Hammer, Michael Buffer, Mean Gene, Tony Schiavone, Mike Tenay,
Charles Robinson.
Charles Robinson. You got all the Nitro Girls. And then, yeah, that one uncredited,
Except Kimberly Page.
which I think was supposed to be like Rose McGowan's character.
Yeah, I
Was
think that
supposed
was
to
like
be
the
Kimberly
replacement.
Page, yeah.
It's just it's. I thought that was kind of funny for some reason because DDP's in it, but not his wife. Not his wife.
Yeah, not his one of those things. John, what was going on in wrestling around this time? The
All
exact
right.
same thing that was happening in this movie where David Arquette was involved and then there was a triple cage.
Yeah, let's do this. Okay, so to promote the movie,
Rip off the Band-Aid, John. Rip off the Band-Aid.
Okay, so David Arquette was brought in a couple weeks after the movie was released onto WCW TV. He was showing up on Nitro and Thunder and everything. He was getting beaten up by Jeff Jarrett and Eric Bischoff. Jeff Jarrett was the WCW World Champion at the time. Should throw that in there because they made him World Champion. That's crazy. So on an episode of Thunder, it was a tag team match with DDP and Arquette against Jarrett and Bischoff, and whoever got the pin became the World Champion. And David Arquette got the pin, and David Arquette, Dewey from Scream, became WCW World Heavyweight fucking Champion. And look, logically, I get this. Like, Vince Russo has talked about it in the past. Like, other people talked about it in the past. Like, it was an idea to drum up publicity. And I get it in theory, but to do that for, like, your main title seems kind of stupid. Like, if it had been, like, the U.S. title or the TV title or something, that would have made sense because no one gives a shit about those. But to do it for the World Championship, like, especially when you're on a downturn and no one's taking you seriously, like, what the fuck?
And on Thunder of all TV
exactly.
shows.
Fucking on Thunder, which is not even mentioned in this movie. They don't even say the goddamn, to go back to that movie, they don't even say Monday Nitro correctly. Like, come on, guys.
You know what? Just looking at my notes real quick, there was one thing that I wrote down, which was kind of funny, is earlier in the movie, David Arquette, or maybe it was Sean, refers to King as the People's Champion. The People's Champion. And it's like, really? You're just going to take that from The Rock?
Hey, man, Rocky was the first People's Champion. Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
There have been People's
King.
Champions before. There will be People's Champions again. A lot of people would think you're the People's Champion of WrassleFlicks. They're fucking wrong. But it's true.
Okay.
It's true. I get texts all the
I'm
time.
going to agree with you.
I get emails all the time.
Where
They're like, Kevin is the People's Champ of WrassleFlicks. And I go, that's a weird thing to email me. I'm hurt.
Just to clarify, John is the People's Champ of WrassleFlicks. Let's just put it out on the table. Let's just get that clear. It is not
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So anyway, David Arquette became the world champion, and obviously everyone shit on it. Like, they got their publicity or whatever, but it was publicity of, like, this actor is now a world champion in professional wrestling.
This?
Yeah, it was kind of like that. And obviously wrestling fans are like, what the fuck, man? So to David Arquette's credit, he didn't want to do it. He got talked into it. And he like all the money he made from his time in WCW, he donated to the families, I think, of Owen Hart and Brian Pillman, 2 guys who had passed away.
Yeah.
So like he was like he's like an actual wrestling fan. So he knew the score, but he still did it because he got talked into it. So on one hand, you're like, okay, you're smart enough to give away your money to people who deserve it. But on the other hand, you still agreed to do it. What the fuck's wrong with you? Although to be fair, if they asked me to be world champion, I would have done it too.
Maybe they'd build it up a little better though.
Yeah. So anyway,
and maybe you'd have to be in a Scream movie first.
So I think he defended it once against Tank Abbott and won because someone laid out Tank Abbott. I don't know if that happened before or after he became world champion. And then he lost it at Slamboree 2000 in a triple-decker cage match, like Ready to Rumble.
Hey,
it was Arquette versus
callback.
Jarrett.
They need to use that prop again.
Agree to disagree. So it was Arquette.
Someone even fell through the cage, right?
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that. So it was Arquette, DDP, and Jarrett. Arquette turned on DDP for no reason, and then so that let Jeff Jarrett regain the title, and then Kanyon got thrown off the second part of the cage through the ramp to end the show, which was kind of bullshit because a year before in that same arena, that's where Owen Hart died by falling off the top of the off the top of the arena.
Yeah.
So you're just like, ugh, maybe don't do that there. Yeah, so that was that.
Awkward.
So that happened. Arquette cut like a heel promo the night after where have you ever seen his heel promo from Nitro?
I don't recall it at all. I honestly, my only recollection is he won the title in that tag match and then the cage match, but I don't remember many details from it.
Okay.
I block a lot of that time of WCW out.
Oh, to be you, Kevin. Oh, to be you. But yeah, so he cut a promo the next night on Nitro, and he was doing a whole heel thing, like he wore like a really loud jacket, and he was telling the fans to shut up. Like, shut up. Like, actually like that, not shut up. Shut up. And then he disappeared. That was David Arquette's WCW career, and that was their way to push this shitty movie that no one was going to take seriously. But again, to David Arquette's credit, last year he actually got trained, and he's like now a real wrestler, I guess. Like on the independent scene, he
right.
Yeah, he ended up like he shows up on events. I think he's wrestling WrestleMania weekend. He almost died in a death match against Nick Gage in November.
Which he didn't know he was going to be in a death match.
Yeah, he didn't. I don't think he understood what a death match really was.
Understood.
Yeah,
right.
So yeah, that was David Arquette. David Arquette's wrestling now, sort of, and he's actually supposedly pretty good. I've never really seen it, but props to him. Because he decided to do wrestling again because everyone's been shitting on him for 19 years for very, very obvious reasons. And he wanted to like not be made fun of as much. So he like decided to be a pro wrestler for real. And now he's doing his shit. Yeah, so that was WCW then. After David Arquette left, the title kept changing hands.
What's happening with WCW now?
Come on, man. Come on, why? I just pulled this Band-Aid off. It feels like I just put it back on and you're making me rip it off again.
That's right.
Just putting it on and ripping it off. 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 Put it on, bow with the bow, the boom, the bang, booty, 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 bum, bum, the boogie. And so that's
Ready to Rumble.
exactly
how that song goes.
Yeah, that's. If there's one thing I remember, it's Kid Rock lyrics. Okay.
He's a master lyricist with the song like that.
So if you want to see if you want to see the David Arquette WCW shit, it is on WWE Network.
If you want to see everyone shit on David Arquette's WCW run, that's also on Monday Night War, and there's a whole episode about it.
There's a whole internet full of it.
That's true.
There's books about it.
And yes, Ready to Rumble, not well received publicly.
Not well received by people.
Received by John.
David Arquette's WCW title run, not well received by people. WCW bought for like $2 million a year later.
Yeah. Who could wonder why a company that is doing that kind of stuff would have gone under?
I guess we'll never know.
God damn it.
Sorry, John.
No, it's fine.
Maybe
it still hurts.
Maybe
it still
they
hurts.
maybe if they had that NWO thing, then they would have lasted longer.
Oh, right. You were supposed to read up on that. Do you know what the NWO is now?
I do, yeah. So they came into WWE.
Okay.
And The Rock had a match with Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
And then Kevin Nash walked across the ring and hurt his knee. And I think Shawn Michaels joined at one point. And then flash forward a few years later, they showed up on a WrestleMania against DX? No, because it was Sting versus Triple H, and NWO came out to help Sting, and DX came out to help Triple H.
But what about the WCW stuff?
What WCW stuff?
God damn it. God damn it. God damn it. Go back. Go back to the network. I gave you a list. I checked it twice. You've been naughty.
We'll figure that out another time. But that's,
son of a bitch.
I mean, that was the most popular stuff, so I don't know what else there could be. But we'll do a little more digging.
Okay.
If you fans out there want to tell me what the NWO is, I believe we have an email.
Cheap plugs time.
Cheap plugs. We've got an email, WrassleFlicks@gmail.com. You can tell us what you think about Ready to Rumble, or give me the history of the NWO, or don't do either of those things, but just say hello.
We do like when people say hello. Please say hello
Indeed.
to me.
Indeed, we do. We've also got an Instagram and a Twitter page.
We were on MySpace, but MySpace deleted everything, so we're not there anymore.
I know, it's such a travesty. It deleted all my Kid Rock songs from 2004.
Like my favorite one, Bow
I
with
want
the
to
Boonda
be a
Bang Da Bang Boodly Boodly.
cowboy. Cowboy, baby.
Cowboy, baby.
So on top of our social media, anything you would like to plug?
Yes,
Big
I
J
am on-
Sully.
Okay. So my Twitter account is @ProResUpdate. That is PROWRESUPDATE. I'm on there frequently. Most of the tweets are wrestling related. The rest of them are just me complaining about life because I don't have a therapist and Twitter is my therapist.
And also because I made John watch Ready to Rumble, so he's having some flashbacks.
Yeah, I'm not going to be sleeping for a little bit. I also have a website, pwupdate.net, that has not been updated. As you go through these episodes, you hear me go, Pro Wrestling Updates has all this stuff. And then it goes from Pro Wrestling Updates, sometime has stuff. I'm working on a recap of WrestleMania 8 right now from 1992. That was the Hulk Hogan's first retirement match.
You started writing it in 1992? Get on it, John. Jeez.
So that's all I got going on. Do you have any special shout outs or anything this week, or are we done kissing ass?
Nope, I don't really have anything this week.
Aren't you on another podcast?
Yeah, I've plugged them enough. VHS Bandits, we talked about them earlier. Check them out if you like watching movies on VHS and hearing three complete idiots talk about it, myself included. Although I haven't been on haven't been on consistently for the last year or so because I had a baby and now I started this, but I'm still going to be on it now and then. And yeah, we talk about movies on VHS, which is how I've watched all these movies so far.
But that'll conclude this episode of WrassleFlicks.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to our episode on Ready to Rumble.
Yeah, it was fun, I guess. Now we don't ever have to talk about this movie again. So I'm fucking thrilled. I got it out of my system. I feel a lot better than I did at the start.
He got some of his scarring memories out of the way, and he can just close that tomb not to be opened for another 20 years when I make him watch it again.
I feel
when
very
I literally
zen.
force him to sit down and re-experience Ready to Rumble.
Kevin, I just got over it. Let me have a moment of zen before we do this again.
You got 20 years. You got 20 years. I told you.
Oh, you think I'm in the last 20 years? That's adorable. That's adorable. I just had fast food for all my meals this past week.
Well, you know, I'm going to make you last the next 20 years and then watch Ready to Rumble.
Is it just going to be my head in a jar like Futurama?
Exactly like Futurama, yes.
Perfect.
They've got the future down pat. Thank you guys so much for listening to our ending ramblings now. We'll catch you next time. Please don't get ruled or crowned. Here comes the pin.
1, 2, 3.
Wrestling's not fake!
I will rule you.
We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. We got the right to choose it. There ain't no way we'll lose it. This is our life. This is our song. We'll fight the powers that be just. Don't pick your destiny, 'cause you don't know us, you don't belong. We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it.
I got 3 words for you, baby. 911.
Hey. Sal Mandini. Want to wrestle?
Sal Bandini. Sure, it's a real honor.
Tap out, son.